For those of you who are regulars here or even semi-regulars, you may notice that something is missing tonight. Okay, just Izzy Bordanik, our co-president, has COVID. He's doing okay. He's doing okay. But as you also may know, every year Izzy so graciously does our Kol Nidre Appeal, which he spends time on, and it's just an important part of what we do here, and nobody does it better than Izzy. So Izzy asked that I read this. I have done the Kol Nidre Appeal for 9 consecutive years, and I was looking forward to doing it for a 10th consecutive year. As you can see, remember this is Izzy's words, as you can see, I am not up here because 8 hours ago I tested positive for COVID. But I couldn't think of a better person to express my words and thoughts than Rabbi Simon. Thank you, Rabbi. Thanks a lot. Please give him your complete and undivided attention and give generously this evening to help support TBK. You have the file.
I'm not going to do it.
But you have the file. The folder was sitting right there.
Oh, yes. You want page 3?
Thank you. I'll do my version. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Good Yontif. I have always started my Kol Nidre Appeal by telling you what an honor it is to be chosen again to give the appeal. Not tonight. Tonight, I start my appeal with just 2 words, October 7th. October 7th, 2023, a day we will never forget, a day that shook us to the core, and a day that gave us a new understanding of just how vulnerable our sacred land of Israel is and how vulnerable we are as Jews as well. While we were all devastated by what happened, our temple was the one place we could find comfort and support where we were not alone. We gathered here when we were needed the most, to be with each other. Our members gave comfort to each other because that is what a temple, a synagogue, does. You see, TBK is our safety net, our anchor, our place to meet and to pray and to inspire each other. We needed a way to move forward. And Rabbi Simon guided us, consoled us, lifted us up, and most importantly, led us through this difficult period. This past year, we did something we have never done before. We said, contributing to TBK is important, but our first priority had to be giving money to help Israel in its time of need. And that is what we did, even if it meant that TBK would receive less. It was a no-brainer for us. We came together as a shul to actively raise money to support Israel. How? For starters, we put on Izzy's one-man show, Being Izzy, raising over $15,000 for 3 critical Israel organizations. We worked with our wonderful head of Israel Bonds, Mark Rubin, and had an incredibly successful Israel Bond appeal, raising more money than ever before. We also hosted various speakers, including residents of a kibbutz that Hamas has decimated, survivors of the Nova Music Festival, 2 IDF spokespeople, as well as a number of soldiers and reservists. We heard from Yossi Hoffman, a Zakah volunteer and first responder, who told us about the limited food rations the Israeli soldiers received. We raised over $15,000 to be used to make a special barbecue and then a Shabbat dinner for over 600 soldiers stationed both at the border and in Gaza. And we got to speak with the soldiers on Zoom as we watched them enjoy these special meals. We also heard from Adele Raymer, a survivor of Kibbutz Nirim, another community devastated by Hamas. We decided to raise money through our Book of Remembrance to help rebuild that kibbutz. And over 179 people have donated to that cause. After every speaker, there wasn't a dry eye in the shul, not one, as we listened in detail to their harrowing experiences. Your generosity, your heart, your caring, your understanding of our commitment to our fellow Jews in Israel has been truly inspiring. And all these speakers and programs can still be seen on our TBK YouTube page. As I'm sure you know, the Kol Nidre Appeal is our most important fundraiser by far. The success of this appeal goes a long way in determining our success as a temple. But think about this for a moment. All the fundraisers we have had for Israel, and yes, that was intentional, meant that we had fewer fundraisers for our shul. But tonight, every contribution, big or small, whether $36 or $36,000, makes a difference. But it's not just about the amount. Okay, maybe a little. It's about participating in something greater than ourselves. Together, we can make sure that our synagogue, Temple Beth Kodesh, continues to be the beating heart of our Jewish life. Several months ago, one of our congregants was sitting alone in the back of the temple. Her husband had recently passed away. As the congregation began to sing, she felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. A fellow congregant noticed her sitting alone and without a word moved to sit beside her. Soon, there were other members of the congregation who joined them. Her once empty pew was now filled with smiles, warmth, and the sound of familiar melodies. Tears filled her eyes, not of sadness, but from the feeling of being embraced by her community, by our community. When the services ended, she thanked them profusely and said, "I felt my husband beside me tonight." The congregation responded, "That's what a synagogue is for. We carry each other's hearts." And here's another example of that beating heart. One of our members lost her mother. She came to Minyan every single day and created a special bond with our Minyonaires. She told us, "I don't know what I would have done without you. You gave me the strength to carry on." To show her appreciation, she took the entire Minyan out for dinner. Where else do you find that? You see, supporting the synagogue is about providing a home where no one is truly ever alone. And this is exactly who and what we are. It is clear that this year's Kol Nidre Appeal isn't just about keeping the lights on or sort of ridiculously high insurance or food bills. It's about standing together, about ensuring that this sanctuary remains a beacon of hope and resilience for us and for generations to come. But please understand that tonight's appeal isn't the icing on the cake. It is the cake. And this year, given all the extraordinary challenges that we face, the cake must be larger than ever before. Let me repeat that. The cake must be larger because it is critical that TBK and the greater community has a strong and viable future. I realize that these are difficult times for all of us, yet it's also an opportunity for us to join together and step up to do our collective part. And this goes to all our loyal ticket holders instead, as well. We are here for you 24/7 if you need us. But we also need you and your support, especially this year. So please give with a generous heart. Several months ago, one of our members got very sick and was in the hospital for a significant amount of time. She returned to our minyan last week, 2 days before Rosh Hashanah, and said to us, "I want to thank everyone for your calls and prayers. It was a great source of comfort to me when I was at my lowest. You have all made me feel so welcome, and it's a privilege to be a member of TBK and be considered part of the minyan. The rabbi's almost daily texts and calls among many of you were often the highlight of my day." Why do I tell you this story? Because in his sermon on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, the rabbi said, "Our religious obligation is to be there for others and help them in their time of need, to see to it that they are not alone." And that's exactly what happened here. Our beating heart, those spontaneous acts of kindness, has always been there when someone needs it. At TBK, you are not alone. So I ask you to please give generously this year. Make this appeal a Hineni moment. Here I am for TBK. We cannot and we must not stop this support. Our temple is just too important. Thank you, and may you have an easy and meaningful fast. Gmar Chatima Tova. Now what happens? Oh yeah. The ushers, if they want it, you have pledge cards in front of you. The ushers can go around and collect them, and we'll take a break while that happens. That was good. That was good.